Hi, everybody. This is Bob Coppage and Michelle Bobola.
Hello.
And we're going to be kicking off our webinar number 5, which is on OneNote, how to capture and organize everything. I'm trying to believe this is actually our 5th one. We've already got over 20 people online, which is really cool. A couple things to talk about. Number 1 is, as we mentioned, the audio is on your computer only. We don't actually have the ability to share with phone lines as of yet. So if you have any questions, though, use the text window at Ask Questions. We may not get to those till towards the end, but we'd love to see the feedback. If you do have issues with connecting, hearing, email support, or give us a holler. If it's something quick, we'll help you on it. Unfortunately, if you are running XP, you are going to have some issues as far as audio in particular. And it usually takes us a little less than a week to actually get this up on YouTube, so we will do that pretty soon. So last thing, what we've got coming up, we've got next week actually our monthly free lunch and our BYOD, bring your own device for the SMB. We think that'll be interesting. And we also broadcast those live as well, so you can come for the lunch or just join us online. And then in May, well, our next webinar is going to be on Word for tables, labels, and mail merge. And then our luncheon is going to be IT Security 101 for the small, medium business. And we're also going to be emailing everybody a survey. We would love to hear some ideas that you all have as far as future webinar topics. So we'd love to hear ideas. So in any case, with that, I'm going to turn this over to Michelle.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. I have a little bit of a scratchy throat today, so I apologize if I cough or whatever. So I'm going to try to get through this session. Welcome to the OneNote 2013. This program is a unique program. It allows you to organize all of your data, keep track of project and meeting notes. You can create links, insert graphics and documents and anything that you want. You can insert objects and many other things. You can even, if you're using a tablet, you can write on handwrite and then turn that handwriting into text. And so you can also use it across your devices if you go to the share drive or the cloud. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And also, as mentioned, because this session has a lot to cover, I'm going to suggest that you hold your questions till the end. If you have any questions, we can address those at the end of the session. Also, OneNote is being offered for free. If you go to www.onenote.com, you can download OneNote for Windows and also for your Mac for free. So Microsoft is offering this program as a free program for all users. So it might be a good idea if you want to go ahead and go online and download that for all of your devices. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the OneNote program. So I went ahead and opened it up. And when you open it up, it opens up with a default notebook. And over here on the left-hand side, you can see that you have your ribbons up at the top. And then you have these little drop-down arrows here where you have your notebooks that you've created. So you can add a notebook, which we're going to do. You can list all your notebooks here. You can open notebooks if you have them stored on another drive or if you have them in another location other than the default location. And then Quick Notes is something that we'll talk about in a little bit. You also notice there's a little push pin that if I click on it, it brings up the pane window over on the left. And basically what this would do is this would list all of the notebooks that I have open and I can look at them. Or if I click on the pin, I can just look at the notebook that I am using right now. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new notebook. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to go to Add Notebook, which will take me to the new notebook window. And the options that I have here is that I can, if you're using OneDrive, the one nice thing about that is that OneNote would be shared across all of your devices, such as your computer, your phone, your tablet, anything that you want. In my case, I'm going to store it on the computer. So I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call this Office 2013 and new features. And then I'm going to go ahead and before I hit create notebook, I'm going to create in a different folder. So in this case, instead of it storing in the default, which would store in the notebook folder, I'm just going to put it on the desktop for now so I can find it in case I need to get to it. I'm going to hit create, and then now I have my new notebook. So if I click on the drop-down arrow, you can see that I have the original notebook that opened up with the program to kind of get you started, and then the one that I just created. When you open a notebook, you get sections within that notebook. So I'm going to rename this section. So I'm going to double click on the section tab, and I'm going to call it Word 2013 and hit enter. If you notice, I have another little plus here that I can add a section. Really what OneNote is it's a notebook. So if you went out and bought a notebook and you had the tabs in your notebook, you would tab, you know, this might be project A, this might be project B. When you were in school, it was like your classes. So this is basically what this is. It's a notebook program. So I'm going to click on the plus, and I'm going to go ahead and type Excel 2013. And I can just keep going. I can go ahead and type PowerPoint 2013. So I can keep adding tabs in my notebook, almost kind of like Excel when you add worksheets. When you create a section in your notebook, then you start to get pages over here on the right. So if you notice that it has untitled page, because right here it'll have the date and time, and if I start typing in here and say what's new in Word, I've just named this page. And in a little bit we'll talk about how to add pages to your notebook, which is as simple as adding sections. Over here, when I talked about the pin, I just wanted to show you now that I have more than one notebook. If I click on that, and then there's a little arrow here that I can expand out, so I can see the different sections in my notebook, and then I could also see the different pages. So if you want to see what's going on with your sometimes this is good when you're copying pages or moving pages from one section of a notebook to another notebook, which you can do. So this would be good to have this window up when you're doing that, or if you just want to concentrate on the notebook that you're in, then you would want to be in this view. Now, when you click inside of a page and you start typing, I'm going to start typing working with ribbons and backstage view. It types in a text box format. So now if I click down here, double click and type setting up quick access toolbar. So now what I'm doing is I'm automatically creating text boxes. I can select the text, I can format the text like I would normally do. I can move the text boxes around. You can also take text from, say, Word, and you can select the text. You can just copy it and go to OneNote, and you can also paste it. And then you can also move it around and do whatever you want. There's other ways to do this too, which I'll talk about in a little bit. The other thing about, so it's a little bit different than Word. You just don't type like in Word. When you type, you get these different text boxes that appear. So it kind of groups the text together. A little tip that you can do is you can actually hold your Shift key down, and as you hold the Shift key down, drag one text box on top of another, and you can actually combine all of the text that you've just created or copied into one text box. So you can see that I took all three text boxes and just put them into one by holding my Shift key down. The same thing can be done to separate. Select the text that you want to separate, hold your Shift key down, click on the text, and drag out. So now what I'm doing is I'm separating the text into separate boxes. So that's by holding down the Shift key. Now I'm going to go back to Word, and I'm going to right click and copy this other paragraph here, let's say down here, and I'm going to copy it. But then what I'm going to do is, if you notice down below in my taskbar that there is a little button that popped up. It says send to OneNote. I can use that, or the other thing I can do, let me get this over. There's a little clipping box that I can bring up, and I can send it directly to OneNote. I can do a new quick note. A quick note brings up a little box that I can actually go ahead and paste what I just copied into that little quick note window and close it. Or if I want to continue on, I can go to another section and copy and then go back to my little quick note window, and I can paste that in there too. Now I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to my OneNote program. Now when I go back to OneNote, if I go here to the drop-down arrow where the notebooks are, there is a quick notes section. This is for anything that you copy in that little quick note window. So if I click on that, it created two separate pages for those things that I just selected. Now what I can do is I can go here and bring up the push pin so that I can see my sections, and I can take those pages and I can drag them right into that section that I want. And now when I go back to that section, and there they are, there's a separate page for that and a separate page for that. I can cut and paste it onto another page if I want, or I can leave it as a separate page, or I can do whatever I want with it. So now what I've done is I've just kind of combined that, brought that quick note into my notebook. Now, and if I would have used the screen clipping, which I'll talk about later, send to OneNote, that sends the whole thing to OneNote. So if I was in Word and I went here and I clicked send to OneNote and it asked me where do I want to put it, I'm going to put it here in the Word section, hit OK. Now what it did is it created a whole new page and put the whole document into my section, my Word section. So basically that's what that does. So when you use the little quick note, you can copy parts and pieces of Excel or Word or PowerPoint, and then the OneNote sends the whole thing to the program. So I'm going to go back to my text box. I'm going to go quickly to the insert ribbon, and I'm going to go talk about the insert space button. And this little button here is used to quickly create space on your page. So if I click on it and move my mouse into my section or on my page and click and drag, I can separate and create a space. So that's good when you have multiple boxes or objects on your page and you need to quickly create space, or you can also use it to delete space. You click on it, you click here, you drag up, and that gets rid of extra spacing. That way you don't have to move all the objects individually. So that's a nice button to use, and that's on the insert ribbon. Now, if you want to delete a text box, you can just select it and hit your delete key. So now let's go over here and talk a little bit about the pages. So as you can see, there's an add page button, but also if I hover over a certain page, a little plus appears, so that if I click on it, I can automatically create a page. And then I'm going to go over here and type inserting objects into Word. Now, I'm going to go ahead and insert another page now. But now what I want to do with this page is I want to turn it into what's called a sub page. So if I right click on this page and say make sub page, and now I'm going to click here and I'm going to type tables. And then I'm going to go over here to the sub page and click on the little plus, and the second page now is going to be a sub page. So I can type screenshots. And then I can go ahead and create another sub page, and this could be called Smart Art. Now, if I add a new page, let's say I click on another page, and then I want this one to be mail merge, but I want it to be a separate, a new main page, I just right click on the sub page and I promote it. So So I'm going to hit promote to send it back to the left. So now it's a main page. And then to the right here of this main page, there's a little arrow that I can click on to collapse and expand my pages. If you want to delete a page, you can right click on it and hit delete, and it will get rid of it. You can rename it by, hitting rename to bring up. Now, when I copied and pasted that, it didn't automatically put in a title, but by doing that, it automatically, when I hit rename, brought it up, and I could say that this was a quick note feature. Okay, so now that I have these pages here, I can also, if I want, let's say I want to move this Smart Art, I could take this page and drag it into my Excel section. So now if I click on Excel, there's the Smart Art page. Or if I want it in both sections, Excel and Word, I can click on that page and hold my Control key down and drag it to Word. So now I will have it, and then I can just click on it and drag it back to where it was. So I have it in Word, and I also have it in Excel. So I'm going to go ahead and type Excel charts so that I have some other pages in here. And then because this is promoted, or it's a sub-page, I'm going to right-click and promote it back out so that it's no longer a sub-page. So now I have my my pages and my sections in my notebook. I'm going to create some more sections. I'm going to create, well, first of all, I'm going to create another one called OneNote. I'm going to create another one called Project. And I'm going to create another one called Visio. Now, the more tabs you get in more sections you create in a notebook, if you want to consolidate them into groups, what you would do over here on the right is right click and do New Section Group. I'm going to call this what do I want to call it? Other programs. I'll just call it other programs. So right now. And then I'm going to take the OneNote and drag that into that section. And there's a little arrow over here that I'm going to click on. And then I'm going to take Project and drag it into that section. And then I'm going to take Visio and drag it into that section. So now I have OneNote, Project, and Visio in the other program group, and I have Word, Excel, PowerPoint in this group. What I'm doing is I'm kind of grouping by, let's say you have multiple projects. Project A could be this group. Project B could be this group. That way, you're not seeing all the tabs going across. You can just concentrate on one group, so this group. So you're creating a mini notebook within OneNote in the notebook program. So I've got this little notebook here, and then over here I've got this little notebook over here. And if I wanted to, I could always take this, drag it over, and by dragging it over to the left of this arrow, I just took it and put it right back into this section. So you can actually create multiple section groups and just have those groups with different tabs in them. So it's like a mini notebook within one big note. So that's a nice feature with the OneNote program. Now I'm going to go back to the insert ribbon. And here's the other thing that I want to mention about OneNote. What happens is if I let's say I close out of OneNote. Okay, so I'm closed. I've closed OneNote. It's down there, and so I'm like, okay, I didn't save. So if I go back to, hold on, where did my OneNote? Here it is. Okay, here it is. Here's my notebook. So I'm going to open it back up. So my, I'm going to open OneNote, sorry. And then here's my, notice it saved everything. I don't hit the save button. The save button, in fact, you'll notice there is no save button in OneNote. Everything that you do in OneNote is automatically saved. The only thing that you have to be aware of is anything that you delete in OneNote, like objects, are gone. But pages that you delete and sections that you delete they're saved somewhere. They're saved in a OneNote recycle bin, which I will talk about in a little bit. So that's one thing to notice about OneNote, because a lot of people panic because they don't see the save button and they're like, where is it? What do I do? Now, the other thing on the insert ribbon is page templates. If I go to page templates, there are pre-existing templates that you can actually look at. So there's like under business, if I click on detailed meeting notes, it automatically brings up a page. It creates a new page, and it gives me a little template that I can use to take my notes in. So I can type my notes. It's already set up for me, and so I can use it. So there's, I can do the formal meeting notes. I can go to decorative if you want to get something a little bit, you want to use something a little bit more exciting. And the other thing that you can also do is you can also choose to pick a template to use as a default for all pages. So that, if you chose like the letter template to use for all your new pages, or you can save your design that you just created as a template. So you could save the current page as a template. It'll ask you to name it, and then you can set that page as a default for new pages in that section that you're working in and hit save. So you can set up those pages for yourself. So the page template is a nice way to just kind of go through and look at if there's something in here that you can use so that you don't have to create it from scratch. And then there's also, you can go to templates on office.com and download other page templates to use in your notebook. Now, if I want to delete these pages, I can click on them, hold my shift key down to select all three, right click, and just delete those pages, and they're gone. All right. I'm also going to talk about notebook properties. I'm going to right click on the Office notebook, and if I go to properties, I can change the name of the notebook. I can change the color of the notebook if I want. I can even change the location of where I stored it, and if I hit OK, then I can automatically do that if I need to, even though I've already named it and saved it. I can right click on the sections and recolor them if I want. So if I want to create a different color for each section, I can do that, and then I can color code each section so that it stands out more. And then the other thing you can do is you can also export a whole section as a OneNote section that would be stored in a folder somewhere where you can just open up just that section. You can also save it as a PDF. You could even save it as a Word document. So if I got to pick a section that has something on it. So I'm going to go to this section. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say export. I think I did delete. Export. I'm going to export it as a Word document on the desktop and hit save. So now when I minimize this, and you'll see it here, that's what it did. It saved all of the pages in that section, and it automatically put it into Word for me. So, all right, that's the exporting feature. Now I want to talk about tags. So I'm going to go back to my notebook, and I'm going to click in my text box, and I'm going to go to the Home tab, and there is a tag section where you can actually tag your notes or whatever you have in OneNote. So for instance, if I hit to do, I can create little to-do lists. So I can put different things, list different things here, and I can tag them as to do. I can go over here and I can tag something as being critical. I can go here, and if I want, when I click on the drop-down arrow or the More button, I can go to Customize Tags, and I can actually create a new tag. So I can go ahead in here and type webcast, and then I can click here, and I can choose a symbol for my webcast and hit OK, and I can even choose to highlight that topic. So if I hit OK and OK and say that I go here and I type, create tables easily in Word. And I click here and I want to tag it with that new tag that I just created. Notice that it highlights it and it has that little tag there. Then what they have is once you start to tag items in OneNote, so if I go over here and let's say Smart Art can be used in all programs, and let's say that I go here and I tag that as important. So now I've tagged some sections and things in my, let's say I'll pick another one here, an idea. All right, so now I've got tags. There's a Find Tags button up at the top I can click on, and it'll bring up all of the tags over here on the right. It will group them by like tags. So all the critical tags would be linked together. All the to-do could be grouped together. All of my webcast ideas can be grouped together. Then I could go up here and I can also view them by the section that they're in. So this is my Excel section. These are the tags in my Word section. I'm only viewing the tags for this notebook, but I can also view the tags for all my notebooks. And I can even check something to be completed in this view. You can even create a summary page. So if you click on the Create Summary Page button, it actually created a new page, and it automatically put those tags and listed those tags on that page. If you want to remove a tag from an item, so you would just click here on the item and you would go to the drop down and just hit remove tag, and then that would take the tag out. So it's a nice way to find things that are critical that you need to take care of. It's a nice way to track anything that you have to do, kind of like your to-do list, and then you can make a thing to say send an email to someone. Whatever you want to do, you can create your own custom tags. If you want to delete that tag that you just created, you can select it. There's an X over here on the right to remove it, and you can even remove the default tags that they've created, so that if you want to use some of these symbols for your own use, you can really customize that any way you want. So that is the tag feature. So now I'm going to go to the Insert ribbon and talk about inserting things into OneNote. So for instance, some of the things that you can insert, or you can insert a table. If you've worked with tables in Word, which that's going to be the next topic for our webcast, you can notice that you have some basic table things that you can do, and you can continue and type. It's a little bit better than it was in the older versions of OneNote, so that you can automatically do some formatting to your tables. Up above you get a layout ribbon where you can insert rows and columns, you can align your text, you can shade your cells, you can delete the table, you can even copy tables from Word into here, or Excel spreadsheets, which we'll talk about in a minute. Then you also have your files, insert files or attaching to files. You could do a file printout, but I'm not hooked up add a printout of a file to this page. You can attach a file. Now if I click on that and I choose the, let's say I choose the Word document, hit insert, I have two options. I can attach the file as an attachment where you double click on it, or I can hit insert printout. And if I do that, what it does is it loads it in, kind of similar to that screen clipping that I had before. Maybe. There it is. And you can see that it imported the whole document into my OneNote page. It also created a link. It does both. So with the second option, if I double click on that, then it says open the attachment. I can click OK, and it actually opens up the attachment so I can see it. So you can do both really with the file attachment. And then in Excel, if I say spreadsheet, and here you can insert an existing Excel spreadsheet. The same way as a file, as a spreadsheet. And when you do the second option, it does the same thing. It inserts it in. It also creates a link to it. And when you click here inside the hover over the spreadsheet, you see the word edit. If you double click on the word edit, it'll actually open up the program to allow you to go in and actually edit the spreadsheet. And then when you close it, it will update in here. You can also insert a new spreadsheet, and actually, if you want, you can do a new Excel spreadsheet just so you can see what it looks like. It opens up empty. You just double click on it so you can edit it, and then it opens it up, a blank Excel spreadsheet that you can actually create and then save, and then it would be in OneNote. So that's another thing you can do. If you have Microsoft Visio, there is also one that will allow you to insert Visio clippings, drawings, and even create drawings in OneNote, but we don't have that on this particular machine. Screen clippings. I'm going to open up the internet and I'm going to go to this website, which is Simplex website, and I'm going to go back to OneNote. And you might have seen this in other programs that we've done in the past, such as Word or PowerPoint, but I can go to screen clipping and it'll bring up the screen that was behind, and then I can take my little mouse and drag it over the item that I want to select, and then put that item in my in my notebook, and I can get rid of that if I want to, or if I could keep that for the link to get to the website, I can just click on that. So you can see that I have my little screen clipping that I just captured. Of course, you can capture pictures from like photos or anything that you would have on your computer. You can do that, or you can go to online pictures and you can go ahead and capture. I love the online picture because it allows you to search for objects, and then when you hit enter, it brings in that object that you can select. You don't even have to get out of the program to go to the internet to get your picture, and then you can click on it and size it and do whatever you want to it. And I could take the picture and put it on top of the item and right click, and if I want to, I can actually send it to the back order, and I can hit send to back. So that it's kind of, the only thing about the pictures in OneNote is you can't really change them up as much like you can in Word and PowerPoint, and you know how you can remove the background and change the shading. But because you can copy and paste it from Word and PowerPoint, you could actually take the picture and copy it into Word. So I'm going to hit copy, go to Word, and then I'm going to paste it. And then on the format ribbon, that's where I can take the background out of the picture. I can change the color of the picture. I can go in and do all kinds of things to it. Artistic effects. You know, all that fun stuff that you can do in Word or PowerPoint to the graphic. Then I could copy it and take it back to OneNote. So now I have it. Now, as you can see, I actually, when I copied and pasted it, it pasted it in the same text box as this one. And if you remember, I just selected it, held my shift key down, and dragged it out so that now it's a separate object and it's not in with this one here. So again, that's a good feature to have. Scanned image, if you have a scanner, you can actually go in and scan an image and bring it into your OneNote, which is nice. And that's another thing that you can do. I'm going to talk about links now. Links. There's a whole bunch of ways you can link. You can actually create links to other sections or pages in your notebook or other notebooks. So if I wanted to, I could say, oh, you know what? I want to link to this page in my Word section. So I'm going to select it and hit OK. So now I have a little text box that says tables, so that when I click on it, it actually jumps to that part of the notebook. So you could actually create a links page and put all of the links that you want for different sections of your notebook, or put links in with like the tables or wherever you want to put it, so that when you click on it, and you could just put a little text box there that says link to or whatever you want, and then just click on that link to get to that section of the notebook. It'll even take you to other notebooks. So if I wanted to link to this OneNote Basic page, if I click on it, it'll take me to that notebook and then to that page, so that you can create links to group things together, or whatever you want to do. It's a great way to create links. The other way to link is to hit the link button, and you can also hit the little folder here to actually link to documents or Excel spreadsheets, and you could create links to that. You can also, it's almost like the file attachment. They're very similar. You can click on the link, and you can also do websites. So you can actually do that and then create a link to that, to click on it to open up the website. The other thing you can do with links, and this is interesting, is if I type 2 brackets, and then let's say that I type the word files, and then close with 2 brackets, I just turned this into a link. This is a link to the files page in the Word section, and that's exactly where it took me. So that was by typing 2 brackets, the name of the section or the page or the notebook, and followed by 2 closing brackets, which created the link that I just click on, and it automatically takes me to that page. The other thing that you can do too is use the linked notes feature. Now I'm going to demonstrate that by going in here and actually opening up this PowerPoint presentation. I can do this in any of the programs. I can do this in Word, I can do this in Excel, I can do this in PowerPoint. Every program has a review ribbon. And you've probably, if you've ever gone to the review ribbon, wondered why it says linked notes. Because what this does is it links to OneNote while you're in PowerPoint, while you're in Excel. So if I click on it, what it's going to do is the first thing it's going to ask me is, where do I want to link this to? What do I want to link this to? So I'm going to go ahead and click here on the PowerPoint section, and I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to go ahead and type PowerPoint notes, this presentation. So if I want to take parts of the presentation and copy them and paste them over here, and see what I'm doing is I'm automatically putting this in here, so that while I'm working in PowerPoint, so that later when I go to OneNote, I can have the information that I type. So I can say discuss future topics for webcast. I can go in here and say future send out survey, whatever. So now that I'm done working in my linked notes window, I'm going to go ahead and click on this little chain up here, and I'm going to say stop taking linked notes. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm done. I'm going to close it. Now I'm going to go back to OneNote. And when I go to my PowerPoint section, there is my information that I just typed in that linked notes window. So now I have it in here. I have a separate page for it. And if you notice when I click here, there's a little PowerPoint logo. So if I click on that logo and hit OK, it'll actually open up the presentation that this is referring to. And it automatically jumped to that page where I left off. That's another feature in Word and Excel and stuff. I love that. Welcome back. This is where you left off. It's a great feature in 2013. So that linked notes is wonderful. So if I'm in Microsoft Word, let's say that I'm in Word, and I go ahead and open up this Century of Pop document that I was in earlier. On the Review tab, there is the linked notes button. So I click on it. I say, okay, I want to link it to, if I can link it to an existing page to add it to the page, or if I click just on the section, it'll add a new page for that section. So I can hit OK, and I can say Word linked notes. And then as I'm working in Word, I can take certain parts of this and paste it into here. I can go over here and type any notes that I want to remember. And when I'm done, again, I want to turn off the linked notes feature, close it. And if I go back to OneNote and go back to Word, and there it is. There's my linked notes. And now I have the little Word icon. I thought I did, but I would have it to get back to Word, but somehow it didn't work. But anyways, so it's the same kind of feature. So that's a great thing with the linking. You can see that you can record audio. So if you hit record audio, you can actually record let's say you want to record a meeting that you're in and you want to record it, you can. You can record video, so you can, if you had a video on your tablet or on your laptop, you could record a video of a meeting or whatever it is you want to record. You can date stamp pages, so you can hit date and time and date stamp the pages. We've already talked about page templates, and then you can add symbols if you want. You can also when you're typing and you want to create lists, you can do bullets. And if you want, you can also do, I'm going to go back to Word here, and I'm going to create another page called outlining. A lot of people don't know how to use the outlining feature. Right here, if I click on the 1, 2, 3 with a drop-down arrow, you have the outlining feature that you can use like in Word. Let's say I hit the ABC. So I hit A and I type. So I say Project A and I hit Enter, I get a B. If I hit my Tab key or on the home ribbon in the basic text, there's the increase indent button. So if I click on it, then it automatically creates. So I can say Task A, Task 1, Task 2. If I hit Enter and hit my Tab key, I get another level. So I can say Step 1, Step 2, hit. I can do Shift Tab to go back a level, or I can hit the decrease indent button, and I'm going to type Task 3. If I hit Enter and do Shift Tab again, I can start over with Project B. This is a great way for you to go ahead and take notes so that you can just automatically outline your information for yourself. If I want to change it, I can click on the text box, go up here, back to the little drop-down arrow, and I can choose another option. I don't like that one. Say I choose that one, and it automatically did the numbering for me again based on the option that I selected. So if I do the Roman numerals, there you go. So the little outlining feature, kind of the same way in Word. A lot of people don't utilize this enough because they're not familiar with it and they don't know how to work with it. I'm going to go back to the, now I'm going to go to the Draw ribbon. And, you know, a lot of times I'm going to go ahead and you can see that there's a little drop down arrow here, more. I mean, you can hit markers, you can hit thick markers, thin pen modes. But let's say you have a tablet and you've automatically went into the tablet and you were handwriting your notes. So I'm going to just handwrite. I'm not the best handwriter with this. My name. And then I'm going to go here to type to turn off the handwriting because I don't want to torture you guys anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and select my name. And let's say you had a tablet and you handwrote your notes. But now you want to turn them into more of a readable, you want to be able to read them or send them to someone. So I'm going to select the handwriting, and then it says ink to text. I'm going to click on ink to text, and it just turned my name into text by just selecting it and choosing this option. And so even if you do equations and stuff, you can do ink to math too. So it just turned my handwriting, my ugly handwriting, into, I have better handwriting than that, it's just on the laptop. But then it just turned it into text. The panning hand here, when you click on it, it turns this into a hand so you can move the page around on your screen. And then you can erase things on, if you need to erase anything that's on your screen, any drawings that you have. And of course, there's the insert space, you can move them around a little bit. There's not a lot you can do. They still need to come about a little bit more on arranging objects on the screen and things like that. They really need to bring that up. I'm going to go over here to history, and I'm going to talk about recent edits. It's nice. So you can see what was done like today. And then you would get a whole, like I've created everything today, so you can see that anything that I click on is going to be highlighted in yellow. But if, let's say, tomorrow I come in and add things and I want to see what was added today, I can go in and look at recent edits from today or within the last 7 days. So, or all pages sorted by date. It's a great way to see what's been added, what you've updated with your notebook. Now this is that notebook recycle bin that I was talking about. I'm going to click on it, and you can see when I click on it, these are those pages that I deleted from the notebook earlier. So if I want, I can right click and move or copy it back to the section or notebook that I wanted to send it to. So if I hit move, it just took it and moved it back to, if I click on this arrow, take me back to my notebook, and there it is. So I'm able to retrieve my pages, or if you delete a whole section, let's say I take this section and I delete it. Okay, it says, are you sure you want to delete? So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go back to my notebook, and there's that whole section that I just deleted. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to move or copy it back to my Office 2013 notebook feature. So now, and then I can click and drag to move them around, and you can see that I just retrieved it. Kind of like the recycle bin in Outlook, the recycle bin on your desktop, you can get it. Now, objects that you delete do not go to the recycle bin. Only pages and sections and notebooks go to the recycle bin. Now, to get out of the recycle bin, I just, like I said, click on this little arrow here to retrieve back, and then you're out of the recycle bin. And if you go back to the recycle bin, you can also empty it, clear it out. Let's say, you know what, I'm just going to clear out the whole thing. I'm going to get rid of it. Now it's gone. It's truly gone. So I'm going to get out of the recycle bin to go back to my notebook. On the Review tab, you have your spell check. You have a View tab that pretty much, the thing about the View tab is if let's say I add a page, is that I could go in and change the page color. I can add ruler lines. So let's say you are someone who's going to use this where you're going to take notes. You can actually create the ruler lines, and then you can, I don't know if you can see them very well because of the color, but you can see that you have lines now where you can write, handwrite your notes if you need to. And, so that's a nice feature. Then the other thing that you can do in your notebook, once you have your notebook created, there's a search window over here on the right. So you can click within the search window, and let's say that I'm looking for the word table. So I click on the word table, it finds it for me, I hit enter, and then it goes to that part of my notebook. So I can automatically, and then hit the little X to clear that. I can search all my notebooks. I can choose to just search sections of a notebook or just this notebook. And I can type in keywords to search. I can pin this so in case I want to search this again. Let's say I type in smart art. And it locates smart art, so I can double click on where that is in my notebook. So you can use the search window to locate things in your notebook. The full page view, let's say I go back here to the links and I hit full page view, it'll put it full page so that you can see it, and then you can click on here to go back to see the ribbons and the sections. You can move sections to other notebooks. So like over here, I can click on this and go to the push pin to see the notebooks. I can hold down my control key and drag this to this notebook, and I've just put it in 2 places. So remember, holding the control key down will automatically allow you to copy it if you want it in other notebooks that you have, or if you drag it, you're just moving it. So it's really not a hard program, as you can see. It's once you get into it and start using it, it's more about organizing yourself. You kind of have to be an organized person to begin to put it together and think of how you want to organize your stuff. And so, well, maybe you don't have to be organized. You can use it for anything that you want. Hopefully, showing you this today was a way to get you excited about the program and say, you know what, I think I can start using that. Other things that you can do is you can email a page to someone. I forgot to mention that on the home ribbon. And then on the meeting details, you could actually bring up meetings from Outlook or your email program. So just all kinds of different ways that you can use it. And remember, when you close OneNote, everything that you've done in it is automatically saved. So the next time you open up the OneNote program, all your notebooks are stored in OneNote. So whatever notebooks you create are all stored in the OneNote program. So I want to thank you for participating in today's session. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to enter them in the chat window. Also, we have decided that we're going to do tables, mail merge, and labels for the next session. But if you have any ideas for upcoming sessions, some ideas that I have thought about were building a spreadsheet from start to finish, Excel charts, using charts in Excel and PowerPoint, a PowerPoint advanced features such as the master slide, working with the master slide and some of the things that we didn't cover in the basic PowerPoint class, working with newspaper columns and graphics and watermarks and borders, and then working with the Excel data ribbons such as sorting, filtering, text to column feature, consolidating. There's a lot on the data ribbon that a lot of people don't utilize. So I hope you enjoyed today's session, and we look forward to having you participate in next month's webcast. Thank you.